Both Dundee clubs, Livingston and Dunfermline, were under pressure, and whoever lost out knew there would be dire consequences.
Dundee's game plan must have been to play for a win. A draw would see them down on goal difference, even if United lost. Livingston against Dundee was first to kick off in the battle for survival, and Dundee's Stevie Lovell almost scored within seconds, latching on to Eric Delamo's headed back pass with Roddy McKenzie blocking his volley. Up in Inverness, Cali against Dundee United kicked off 13 minutes late. And in the early stages, Mark Wilson's corner almost brings an opening goal for this Grant Brebner header. At Rugby Park, all Dunfermline had to do was avoid a monumental collapse of at least 6 goals. Kilmarnock's Ryan Dodds here setting his sights early on with a powerful 25-yarder. Back at Livingston, Dundee go in front through Callum MacDonald, a player Jim Duffy will have to rely on to get them straight back up next season. He was the first to react to Bobby Mann's clever header across goal. This was the start Jim Duffy was praying for, and he got it. So as results stood at this stage, Dundee were safe, with Livingston occupying that dreaded bottom spot. But Livingston reacted quickly to Dundee's goal. Burton O'Brien, probing away at the edge of the box, sends Cashlow free, and Barry Smith can't get close enough to stop the cross coming in, and it's Craig Easton who arrives in the 6-yard box to draw level. So at this stage, Livingston now safe, Dundee back to square one. At Rugby Park, Gary Locke gives Kilmarnock the lead. But Dunfermline needn't worry, they won't lose heavily, will they? Livingston then almost go in front of the City Stadium when this Colin McMenamin cross somehow causes all sorts of problems. And Suter reacts well to Cashlow's rebound. Liam Fox broke Dundee's hearts last week with a late equaliser at Dens Park, and he almost scored again here. His dipping shot from almost 30 yards, just over the bar.
Half-time and everything still very much in the melting pot. Dundee had enjoyed a brief moment of safety that could have sent Livingston down, but it was still too close to call which team would eventually drop out of the top flight.
At Rugby Park, Dunfermline lost a second goal right after half-time when Gary Wales broke down the right-hand side. His cross was teed up perfectly by Chris Boyd for Ryan Dodds to side-foot home. That's a lovely finish from the Kelly youngster. And then within minutes, the alarm bells were starting to ring for Jim Leishman and Dunfermline when a third goal was conceded. Stephen Naismith puts Ian Campbell under pressure to win possession. Gary Locke then drives forward to set up Gary Wales, and his deflected shot into the path of Naismith results in a tap-in for Chris Boyd. Livingston at this stage then lost Bahoken, carried off on a stretcher following a clash with Ian Anderson. But soon after, Burton O'Brien almost gave them breathing space with a well-struck free kick. Back at Rugby Park, Kilmarnock amazingly got a fourth with almost half an hour to go, the Dunfermline players seemingly oblivious to how serious their situation was. Gary MacDonald this time scoring from an almost impossible angle. Jim Leishman and Craig Robertson certainly knew how precarious their SPL future was. Richie Hart then gave Dundee United a scare with this free kick straight down the throat of Tony Bullock. Stevie Murray and Gary Locke then both went close for Kilmarnock within a minute of each other. And at this stage, the defending from Dunfermline was abysmal. No one was getting anywhere near the Kilmarnock players as Jim Jeffries' men threatened to score every time they went up the park. Gary Locke's effort just going over the bar. Substitute Colin Nish was another one able to enjoy time and space for a shot, and he's just passed the post with this left foot effort. Into the last few minutes now, and Bobby Mann will rue this missed chance. Not quite ready for the volley when the ball breaks his way. The final whistle goes first of all at Rugby Park. Jim Leishman's men are safe, but he lets his players know how close they came to throwing it all away.
6 minutes of added time at this half. 6 minutes to play.
6 minutes, the announcer says at the City Stadium. It gives Dundee a glimmer of hope, but Robert Snodgrass manages to race clear. His lack of pace allows Sancho and Mann to clear the danger. And here's how close Dundee came to securing their SPL status. Tam McManus drives down that right hand side. His left foot shot hits the post, and it's the width of that post that makes all the difference between the SPL and the First Division. Dundee United meanwhile earn a soft penalty against Cali. Barry Robson puts pressure on referee Alan Freeland to make a judgment here after a clumsy Ross Tokley challenge. The decision goes his way and he hammers the ball home to ensure safety. The United fans can't contain their emotions, and when news filters through that Dundee hadn't done enough, this final SPL table shows how close they all came to dropping out of the SPL. But it's the Dundee players who can't believe what's happened. Their anguish is in complete contrast to the Livingston fans' celebrations of their team's great escape. One last talking point at Inverness. Barry Robson given a second yellow card for diving that sees him ordered off. But Gordon Chisholm and the United fans couldn't care less. On a day of drama, they've simply survived.
So it's Dundee who lose out in the end, and I think their demise is tragic for the SPL. There'll be no Dundee derby next season, one of the SPL's flagship games, and I'm sure Dundee United won't relish the prospect of a potential sellout game either. Relegation has always been hard to take, but this season the consequences have never been so drastic.
Andy Walker's spot on there. Dundee derby's going to be missed. Niall, you're on the other side of the Dundee fence. At one point in the season it could have been, or even on Saturday, it could have been First Division and Europe. You've got to be a happy man.
Yeah, well, more relieved than happy.
Right.
Bottom line is, we shouldn't have really been in that position in the first place. We've got a reasonably strong squad. Been a lot of money spent on it recently. I just hope we could do well next season and show what the team can do, you know.
So fingers crossed for Chizzy then is the message?
Yeah, he's come in and he's done a job. See what the board say and see how it goes from there on.
Optimism for next year?
Okay, optimism there, and we hear Gordon Chisholm, Jerry, may be appointed the full-time manager of Dundee United tomorrow. Let me talk first about Livingston. They've escaped in a fascinating period under the control of Richard Gough.
Yeah, I think they've enjoyed a bit of luck. They had a bit of money to spend as well, but some of the decision-making at Livingston, Pierce Flynn, for instance, what's that, 4 managers in 12 months. And it's almost like Jesus Gill, the Atletico Madrid owner of years ago, who fired 39 coaches in 17 seasons, something like that. So stability is needed there. You look at Dunfermline as well, decision-making, with games to go, getting rid of David Hay. Then appointing Jim Leishman. Why not wait till the end of the season and sit down? I don't think that's going to turn out to be the right appointment there either. And the irony of all, of course, is that the one club out of the 4 that kept faith with the manager, Dundee, and Jim Duffy, they've gone down. And you've got to hope that a guy like Jim Duffy comes straight back up again.
And great scenes up at Inverness, those Dundee United fans celebrating survival, and they've got this cup final now, Andy, to look forward to on Saturday.
Yeah, and they've got a chance because Celtic's heads will be down, and When you look at the way it's ended up for Dundee, though, Jim, you know, it's hard to feel sorry for a club who managed to get themselves so many millions of pounds in debt. I mean, they were behind this whole setup of the SPL. They were part of it, and for them to suffer in the way they did, it's really tough on Jim Duffy. But you know, how can they possibly let themselves get so much in debt?
Well,
like
it's tough on Jim Duffy, but Kenneth Coots has emailed to say, has your Monday night panel lost the plot? Dundee won't go down. That was after last week's show. We were right.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think it's a poor reflection on the SPL that the consequences are just so dire now. And when you look at how much it meant to some of the players there, Tam McManus, these fans, it's really tragic, because I think the Dundee derby is normally one of the games that you look forward to at the start of the season.
And Jerry, Dundee have released 8 players tonight, including Caballero, Duberdu, Barrett, Brent, Sancho. It's going to be a whole different squad for the First Division.
Yeah, it's got to be, you know, and try and get wages driven down further as well.